All right, what's going on, everybody? It's your host, Petey Pips, and we are back with another chart talk, episode 10. All right, and today we are going to be looking. Today we're going to be looking at the dollar, and I'm gonna pull up over here on my side. I'm gonna make sure I have this running so I can make sure the stream is somewhat okay on my side. Alright, and if anyone has anything in the chat, go ahead and drop that in the chat. I'll be watching that on my side as well. Alright, so let me mute this here. And okay. Pop that chat out right there. Alright, so I got the chat open. We're good to go. So we're going to start on the dollar. And let's go full screen mode. This is what I have anticipated for the dollar this week, right? At the beginning of the week, we have marked this up already. It was either option 1 or option 2. Right now, of course, this one is looking like the favorite. So we're going to continue to play the market as if this is not going to happen anymore. So the bullish bias looks to be playing out. What we really want to look at today is the monthly candlesticks, but I cannot help but see this opportunity here on the dollar. As you know, it looks to me it could be breaking out of this kind of wedge. There's always the opportunity or the possibility, rather, that price comes back down to these lows, and because it never did hit these areas of volume down here that we expected it to get to. But with this type of move out, okay, it moves and it doesn't break the lows, and then it makes a new high. This is the technical definition of a structure change. So we are just going to play by the rules here, and if we can get our entry at the 78.6, then we believe that the dollar is going to come into here and then make one more move up into this level. You can see that there's not a lot of volume here. So it did what it should do here. After it made a push up, okay, it's going to chill out, and then it should find the next area of volume. So that's what we're looking for on the dollar. Let's look at it on a monthly time frame, because this monthly candle just closed, and this is going to give us, a better perspective of what could happen all next month. Because if you remember how when this candle closed, we were kind of flipping our bias to the downside. We wanted the market to come up and then drop, but it has just kept dropping and dropping. What's up, Carlo? My guy. So at this point, we're getting this type of a close on a monthly time frame. Now the market volume is starting to decrease after it increased big time. So in my opinion, we are coming into this area on the dollar, very high level of structure. I do believe we have a chance to see the dollar turn around soon, but when you're talking monthly time frames, soon could be in 2 months. So, we gotta wait a little. I think it's very rare you see the dollar just make a super reverse like this. You usually see it accumulate a little bit. This is a lot of bit. Here's a little instance where it looked like it was going to turn around, faked, and then moved. This was looks like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 months of accumulation. So, there's most likely going to be a little bit longer down here. You know, I don't see just a bam reverse. I could be wrong. Now, when we're going into these weekly time frames, you know, now you can really see where we might get the shorter term reversal, but I think it's going to play around here a little bit before it moves to this upside. And this is kind of the area, you know, just imbalanced area up here that we'll be looking for. So the dollar on the monthly time frame, because we're going to be looking at everything on the monthly, I want to throw in some levels that we're not used to looking at, but you can see it on the volume profile here. A lot of volume sitting to the downside still, and not a lot at all to the upside. Let's bring in more price to compare it to. And even with the, you know, only really price that we can compare, the volume that we can compare to, it's not a lot. So the market is most likely coming down into this area eventually. And then from there, depending on what the overall market conditions are, we'll either probably double top, find there is not a lot of volume here, and most likely come back down. I don't see it maybe breaking new highs. Let me put all the volume that I can in here. And yeah, with all the volume on the futures chart since 1986, it's just, this is the area of most volume, and there's not a lot up here. In fact, from really here up, yeah, there's not a lot. So that's interesting to look at for the volume perspective, most likely coming to the downside. All right, in EU, let's look at EU now, because technically EU and the Euro futures are the exact same thing, but we're putting in just bullish candle after bullish candle after bullish candle. The volume is not necessarily increasing with this as it did with the bears, so there is most likely one more leg down, most likely, but we're coming into an area just like the dollar was, where, you know, especially just right here, we should see some type of rejection here. The volume profile is suggesting that it could come up a little bit higher still, right up into this level, which I would really expect a drop from there. How many pips away is that from here? Still a good amount, but about 500 pips. So there's still some upside, and I mean the momentum is starting to pop now. So even the momentum is suggesting upside. Let me look at the pound. The pound is coming into a monthly level as well. So they're all like right technically in this technical level, but now we gotta wait for them to really shift. The volume here, you can see this is just nothing. I think this is a pullback, and we are going to most likely see double bottoms and then a double top or somewhat of something like that on the dollar. These are going to come back down and test these levels of demand, right? This is like a huge Wyckoff schematic, and this is a spring, and we're going to need to see it test. And if the test down has low volume, then most likely there's going to be a move like this. All right. The Aussie, and you can see the difference in these things, with the Aussie being kind of less weak, I would say. Let's look at it like this. You can see how the pound is more than a downtrend, and then the Aussie is more sideways. So if this starts to break up these levels, we have a lot to go to the upside on the Aussie. So right here, you can see if it kind of breaks out, we're going big time up. So I'm leaning more towards like an Aussie strength type of 2023 versus the other ones. And it's just kind of shown that strength throughout the years, actually. Coming into this fib, 61.8, I think if the other currencies make a double bottom, this one is going to look really good on a macro perspective. We don't trade the Aussie that much, but the way this one looks is really clean. And I do think there will be like that double bottom move. There's nothing really telling me it shouldn't do that. Other than the momentum is starting to pick up to the upside, but I'm sure the lower time frames are suggesting other things. But this one, like I said, this one, if it breaks above here, it's gone. But it's in this important area. And what I wanted to do, actually, let's turn this volume profile into a monthly profile. And then let's put, instead of 12 months, we're going to do, how much do we want to put on this? Yeah, we'll do 12 months. So we can see if there's any interesting levels, like what we could see right here. Boom. So that's an important level right here. This is one of the most important prices of the year for the Aussie back then. And then this was another important price up here. You can see how it came into that and then started to drop. So if we come into this and start rejecting, I won't be surprised. The Swiss franc is starting to really move compared to all of the other currencies, I think. You can see how the move out of here is okay, and I want to actually measure the percentage of this from top to bottom. We got a 14% move. Let's delete that. Top to bottom, we have a 18 to 20% move, so the pound is coming off a little bit more strong. The Aussie looks weaker, so I'm saying it's strongest, but it looks weaker. So about 15. And then this one just looks the most like crazy. But it's not. That's interesting. So it's all relative to the percentage of what is normal, I guess. But the price action on this is definitely the most bullish. On a monthly time frame, it did put in a little doji though, or not doji, just indecision. Let me see here. There's an interesting price right there though. So if it comes down back into here, that's probably where it's coming down into, to be honest, because this level is a very, I would say, tough level. And if it breaks that, then there's really nothing stopping this. This is not used to being, or I mean, really, it stays in this range. So if it breaks above here, it's most likely going to just do a fake out and come back in, because it's not really, or it's just going to go and then create a new range in a certain, kind of like how it did here, how it broke out. It created a little range, and then it broke out again, and then it created like a flat pattern, and then it broke out, and now this is like a big flag pattern. It could definitely break out, but I think if it would break out, it's not like it's going to go forever like a Bitcoin thing. It would just break out and probably consolidate, because it's a currency, not a freaking it's not an asset crazy like Tesla or something. So this will be something to watch, definitely, if it does a breakout like that, but usually it doesn't break out. Alright, that's the sad thing about the markets. They're like 70% of the time, they're sideways. Okay, here is the yen, and it is rejecting. It left a doji at this level. That's a true doji. So right at the old all-time lows almost, it leaves this doji I guess just at this level. Let's look and see if there's any volume. It's most likely coming back up into here. You see all these volume levels? Most likely coming back up into that level. We got to wait for it to come back and test. This is a big spring. This is a big spring. And I think we'll see something like this probably on the yen. It's just really hard to catch the position down here. We were talking about the bottom of the yen, blah, 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 the divergence. And the way the market did this, came down like this, and broke through and created this volume up, makes me think there's probably one more move down, and then we'll come up. Because I want to test that level again. Okay, oil is an interesting looking pair because it has a nice price action wicks to the downside on the monthly time frame. So one or two things are going to happen. Oil's either going to go for a stop hunt and take these wicks out and then do a move to the upside if that's what it wants to do. Because if you look in the past, this is kind of a level that oil stops at and likes to come back down and really stays kind of in this range if you think about it. So a lot of people are saying this is a level that oil is going to stop at. It's a rangy pair. Maybe it's going to come up here, but then probably stop here and come back down. So if I had to bet, I would bet more to the upside just because this is so bullish and we're getting very good looking price action. So I would maybe be looking for oil to break out. I know it's in a range on the lower time frames. So maybe just wait for that range to break to the upside and then we could see, a possible good move. Because really there's not a lot of volume, and then when there's not a lot of volume, it moves fast. But it could definitely come back down and test this volume. Let's look at the S&P close. Boy. Okay, so this candle is closing bullish as it gets almost, but the volume isn't too strong with it. That's interesting. Okay, so what I want to point out on the S&P is that this level down here is just really strong. It's basically right at 3,000 if you want to try to remember a price. 3,000 on the S&P, which is a far, far ways away from where we currently are. Okay, that's a 26% drop. At where the stock market is right now, if there's a 26% drop in any stock from now on, that's going to hurt. Not any stock really, but the major stocks, that would hurt. So if the recession is going to happen, this is where I'm looking for the market to come down into, this 3,000 price. And if it goes any lower than that, it's going to take out these COVID lows because this is the next just area of volume there. Do I think it's going to get there? No. In fact, I will be betting on it to actually stop at like 32.5, honestly, just because this is a yearly point of control that has not been hit, and there was a lot of volume in this year, just specifically because it was COVID. So I don't even know if I'm allowed to say that on the streams and YouTube not flag me, but either way, I'm still waiting for a leg down, but the price action is telling me to wait. Price action is really saying that we might come up and then drop. But I'll tell you this, if these monthly lows break, this thing has not a lot to hold it down. So if sellers really want to come in and destroy this thing, they will be able to quickly. And we'll be able to look at these other indices as well on a monthly. The NASDAQ. So the NASDAQ's a little bit easier to see, in my opinion, on the volume profile, but it also has a very bullish candle. So they really might have held at this level. They might have held at this volume level, and they might not come down here. But if these lows get broken, you can see that there is just nothing holding the market all the way down into here. This will be the level that I start to stack at on anything I can, really. Like the overall market, I would expect to start chopping down here, maybe get like one more pop down and then out of here. So if it comes all the way down to 8,700 level, that is like it for me. Really, let's just call it 9,000 to make it easy. That's like that monthly level for me. Now, right now, it's looking bullish, even though the volume isn't there with it. So that's something to note. Like, yeah, we're getting bullish price action, but not a lot of volume with it. Let's look at the Dow. And obviously, this would kind of be a level that I would look at for the upside, which is very far away. These equal highs getting taken out type shit. The Dow, let's throw this up here. This is our back testing stuff. And really, the Dow is the one that is the strongest out of all three. And it is actually in an area of volume as well, like the other ones, but it is way higher, way, way, way higher. In fact, it's in the macro fib level, and it's hit the 78.6. These others, let's see, these others aren't even close to that. I'm talking not even worth looking at this fib, because the Dow's up here. And same thing with the S&P. The S&P isn't even close. So the Dow is the strongest by far, macro-wise. The Dow is way up here. And let's look at that real quick. Let's bring it back. Whoop, whoop. Here we go. All right. Dow is way up here. So it was the least weak to the downside, so that allowed it to be, this correction is a little easier. So I genuinely think we're going to see this. We're going to see the Dow make most likely, because I mean it's just looking that way. The other indices look a little bullish. The Dow does look a little weaker. It does, definitely. It didn't make as much of a bullish candle, but to me, here's what I think is going to happen. We're going to get a higher high on the Dow. It's going to give divergence on the monthly time frame. And this move up, let's give it, I don't know, let's give it a 15% move up. That's what we need most likely on these guys to the upside to get into these macro levels. So that's even a 26% up. So 15 is right at the 61.8. And then let's see where the S&P thing's at. So you see what I'm saying? If these go like 15%, these will be in their macro swing levels. And then in the Dow will be creating a new high and having divergence. That will be the probably only confirmation that I will be able to see for the downside on the indices until these lows get broken. And obviously the lows are going to get broken on NASDAQ first out of all of them, if lows start to break, because it is just the closest to the low. These still have a lot to go. And what could happen to the downside is we could see NASDAQ break the lowest and form some type of divergence maybe on a weekly, and then that would bring the Dow back down to most likely not even new lows, and we could even see the Dow hold here. That would be some interesting stuff. So I'm gonna be watching how the macro looks on all these different indices to figure out which one is the strongest and the weakest, and then be able to play that on the probability side in the day trading world. Okay, I look at the Russell, it's 2000, and bullish as well. It's a little bit weaker when it comes to the whole thing, but yeah, very bullish. That's like a sign like the rest of the market is pretty bullish as well. So I'm seeing a little bit more upside for sure. The volume is low, but the price action is, you got to really, just wait for it to turn around. It's a sign that it could be fake, but still got to wait. The VIX. The VIX is interesting because it's putting in a very bearish monthly candle coming into a monthly zone where if it breaks this, we're coming down again, and that is going to be the sign that's going to send the indices up. And if we come down into this level and break, man, we're coming all the way down into this level. And I would most likely expect something to happen. If it doesn't happen in this level here, where there has definitely been rejection, and even where it's currently at, there's been rejection, but it's most likely going to slip through here and come into this. If we can't hold this level, then yeah, the indices are going to be making new highs, and the stock market's going to be making, or maybe not new highs, but really close to new highs. Because at this point, I would expect some type of volatility to occur once the VIX gets down that low. I definitely would expect volatility. But yeah, this is not good for my bearish bias on the indices anymore. So we're gonna have to really watch that. Which is, if we're looking for the dollar to move up, the indices should move down. But like I said, there might be some more downside to the dollar, so that could be what the indices need to move up. Okay, gold. Gold is just rocking and rolling. There's nothing stopping this right now. So even though it's coming into this fib level, I just wouldn't look for sells yet. Unless you're really risky, but there's nothing telling me to short gold just yet. There's a lower time frame opportunities, but for the macro move where you think it's really going to start to roll over right here, I think that you might have a couple more months to wait. It's very rare, like I said, that the market just turns around on a dime. In fact, it has been ranging up here forever. So when it was down here, we were thinking there's no way that these lows were going to hold, and now we're all the way back up here. So just be patient. When these lows break, it will make a big move to the downside. It's just a matter of time. This is a big distribution pattern, so there might be one more spike up. That will be a fake move, most likely. Maybe one more test, maybe even one more spike. There could be multiple spikes up there. But ultimately, I think this is distribution. We'll probably see gold back down at 13 or so. I don't know how many years it'll take or months it'll take, but this is just a big distribution pattern that you can look up. Wyckoff distribution. Silver, I don't care for silver too much. On the macro perspective, I really just look at it for a day trading perspective. But if I had to really care about this is that big pattern that everyone gets screwed on, and then it accumulates, and then we get a pop out. Most of the time, it does actually move out from here. So that would not correlate with what I'm saying on gold. So we'll see what happens with silver. If silver starts to break out really heavy, then I might change my bias on gold. But for now, nah, doesn't matter as much. This is what I wanted to look at. Bitcoin making this type of monthly candle usually suggests a rally. So even though the volume isn't too crazy, it is greater than the month before. So that's good for the bulls. And obviously it's a great price action, reversal, 3 candle reversal pattern. So it's not just one bullish engulfing, there's 3 evening star pattern right here. And one thing about this is on the volume profile, there is not really a lot of volume over here. I'm gonna show y'all on these profiles because this is not gonna get a good read for us. And it is a little bit. Okay, look, so right here, if the market comes any higher, basically, it is about to slip straight through. The next price will 100% be 27. It's not even going to touch anything. It'll go straight to 27. And then from there, probably straight to 30. And then from there, probably straight to 37. And I'm talking faster than people think. One of these candles can happen very easily like this. Boom. Straight into this price. Could happen very fast because it just happened to the downside. Definitely happened to the upside just as fast. So Bitcoin is the craziest asset. If the Dow moves 10%, Bitcoin can move freaking 25. So and I've been trading it for a very long time. I've watched it outdo these stocks like crazy. This would be like the only price that this is even going to let me see. You know what I'm saying? All the volume right here, it stops at this spot right there. So I'll mark that off too. But other than that, it's slipping straight through if it goes any higher. Let's mark this off like that. Okay. And then another price we want to watch is if it does get below this price here at like 20K. If it gets below 20K, I don't want to say it's going to slip down because it could hold. But if it like breaks 20K with some freaking violence, then we should probably expect new lows still. There is this level here that I would like to see get hit right at this 12K where there was a lot of volume when the move was made to the upside. But at this point, now you got to think if the indices ever get to those macro lows that I'm talking about, oh yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. So a lot of what is going to happen right now, regardless of what ends up happening in the future, what you can almost guarantee right now is that people are buying Bitcoin here. They definitely weren't buying it here. Okay. So now that people have gotten into this market right at this monthly resistance, it's either really going to kind of move up kind of quick, and I don't know if people are going to take profit here or not. Probably not. They're going to think it's going to go to the moon. It could definitely just do this. This would be the type of move I would love to see, honestly, just because it would really not, I don't want to say ruin people's portfolio, but it would be exactly what we want. Number one, we still want these lower like 10K, 12K prices, but it would give the market the liquidity it needs to do that, really. Okay, so if the market does start to move again and like all these people start saying like Bitcoin, 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 that's like, that is low-key bearish. People think it's bullish. It's not. It's really not. So, but here's the thing. If people get in now and it hits these levels, they're 50% down. And that is just devastating. But if they get in up here at 30, let's go to 30, and it drops, that is a 67, 66% drop on their portfolio. I don't know if people can be able to withstand that. Like it, again, after they probably just got in up here, right, and then had to hold this. So a lot of people got in right here, and they've had to hold this 70%, 60% drop, and a lot of people are going to get in again at the wrong time, and most likely it's going to do this. And that's just my opinion. I think if it gives us a chance on the lower time frames, and this will be one that I look real quick on the lower time frames, because this is the best price action out of all the asset classes that we've seen. We can look at Ethereum and it looks very similar. Okay, Ethereum is very, very similar, and if Ethereum breaks above these highs, it's coming. I'm talking. It's making a big move too. It could double, low key. But we're gonna probably focus on Bitcoin just because it looks the cleanest. What up, ABK, my boy? Happy birthday to you. I'm not gonna do the rest. Love you, bro. I just think Bitcoin, out of all the asset classes, and we're just gonna flash through them real quick again. We have Ethereum that looks great, but we're focusing on Bitcoin. The dollar, of course, still looks a little bearish, but we want to see it start to turn around. The euro still looks bullish. We want to see it turn around. Same with the pound. Still looks bullish. Want to see it turn around. So we're waiting for these to turn around. Waiting for this to turn around. Swiss franc has okay price action, but still waiting. The yen has good price action, still waiting. Oil, good price action on oil. It looks like it could turn around, but still waiting. S&P, great price action, hasn't broken the top, so kind of still waiting to see if it's going to make this move up. Still interested in the downside. You know, it's like, yeah, there's good price action, but we want to see this thing just roll over from here still. And it's like kind of the same with all the indices. They're in an area. We just want to see it roll over, but they could easily keep going. And that's why Bitcoin, I mean, technically gold's very bullish too. You gotta watch for gold, but it's coming into a macro perspective, macro area, right? That's why Bitcoin is one of the most interesting ones, because out of all of the asset classes, Bitcoin has put in something that looks like a possible turnaround. None of the other ones have. So, with the dollar possibly still having a chance to go a little lower. So, this is what I want to get out of my head. The DXY has a chance to continue lower, right? That's true. Okay, we know that because it's just been dropping. And it could turn around. Is it gonna? We don't know. We want it to. Okay, I really want it to go bullish, but the monthly candles have not switched yet. This monthly candle definitely has. So if the dollar, I want to put that at the front. So, okay, I guess not. Let me just put this at the front. If the DXY has a chance to continue lower, then Bitcoin will go higher. That's how I look at it. So what I want to look at is more on the daily, and we haven't looked at the daily on anything. But look, we're in this supply area. We should reject here, straight up. It should reject here, and here is this accumulation, this beautiful accumulation range. Okay. And I got a bunch of drawings everywhere, I guess, on this. But this is an important price at 20K, basically. So you can just put 20K on your chart. It's an important price. Um, the one thing I want to note here is this volume on the daily. It was excuse me. It was good. This was one of the highest volume days since the FTX dropout. And then we had another big high volume day, and then we have had some good volume up here. So the volume is very good, I would say, to the upside. Once we broke this, there was good volume. So I think it's worth taking a shot if the market does come down into here. No one knows what the market is going to do, but there is some good confirmation that if any of these markets are going to turn around next month, the month after, this one could be it. So I want to look at this from something like this type of perspective, and maybe even throw it in like this. But when you do like this, you can see how the volume, it's either going to hold at the 61.8 or it's going to slip down and hold way down here. So to me, I need to, come correct with that full move right there. And, it broke this structure pretty clean, and so if it comes back down into here, we could see a move out of here. And that's just something I'm going to prepare myself for. You don't know what's going to happen. I don't know what's going to happen. But out of all of the markets, this one has the best price action potential with the volume. Let's go into the 4 hour just so we're looking at it. We're gonna really try to pinpoint this month. And this is what we were looking for it to do this week, and we're getting it exactly. So that's perfect. It came up into this level, spiked it, and then is almost putting in what I think is a little bit of a head and shoulders pattern. But we spoke about how this parabolic move, it's not done. It hasn't dropped yet, right? It definitely hasn't done what we wanted to do just yet, I guess. I shouldn't say that because tomorrow there's a big news day. And this thing could just go woo if the dollar does drop. But the volume right here, guys, it is really basically showing how, and I need to put some more into the left, but look, there's not a lot holding this thing coming right back down to 21. And then from there, there's not that much having it coming right back down to 16, 17. And that's the area we want to look to buy from. So this could get here a lot faster than I want it to. And here's the thing. If it does that, I'm thinking in my head already, okay, we have this big bullish monthly candlestick, because that's what this is, a monthly candlestick that is just huge. If this month in February starts out fast to the downside, and this is like how the candle starts out, and we come all the way down here, so we start up here and we come all the way down here to start the month, we'll say at the middle of the month, price is back up here, and then say at the end of the month, we're right back up in here, and we get a candlestick that looks like this. That is a extremely bullish sign on a macro perspective to have this thing just blast straight through right to 30K faster than we can even imagine. So that is kind of what I want to see. I want to see a faster move down into here. So by the end of the month, it has enough time to come back in, and we can get a candle that is like just something like this, testing the low of that macro candle. And let's see what it looks like if I go to the monthly. Let's see if that candle looks good enough. No, it's not going to show that. Okay. But yeah, basically we want to come down in here to this monthly candle and just test this area. Come and test it and come and get out of it fast. It's going to be a little scary, I think, but it could be worth it. Now, The flip side of that is could eat my words very quickly on this, and it could just run straight down to the area on the whole macro big picture perspective. We may never see these lows ever again type talk on crypto. That is the that's the best perspective. That's the best thing that could happen. Honestly, it would suck because I would lose a trade, but that is the best thing that could happen if Bitcoin comes all the way down to 10K. We will be saying, hey, we might not see these prices again. You can see it on the volume profile. This is really the the price, and so if it can come down here, we're good. We're good. We're gonna try to play it first though before. I think there's a chance for it. Because look, if it comes back up in here, we're going to be saying again, hey, guess what? There might be one more move down. Because this is one of those moves, where it could easily do this still. Bitcoin is the craziest asset, and we got to watch how the macro perspective with the Fed looks too, because you can't just expect this thing to rocket ship with the Fed is not cooperating. So we'll be watching for Bitcoin to move up possibly this month. I want to see what this monthly candle did. Okay, that's amazing. It did a total of, it closed at 40%. That's just, boom. It could easily happen. If momentum is true on Bitcoin, you could see way more than 40% happen quick. And that's what I'm trying to get at, that these zones and where the volume is, it could just slide straight to 30 faster than we think. I hope it comes into our buying area first and then goes to 30, but we'll see. It's going to be kind of difficult to navigate, but that's going to be it for Chart Talk tonight. That was a good little macro perspective. We're seeing what things could do. We're going to be back tomorrow night. Most likely doing a little back testing, doing a little something. We'll see. We'll figure it out, and we'll let y'all know in the chats. So y'all have a good night. Y'all go wish AB happy birthday, and we will be back tomorrow.